And he makes it. How we doing tonight, folks? Good to see you. Thrash Pondo here, running just a tiny bit behind, but I made it at 7:30, just under the wire, he said. And now just waiting for people to start showing up. Hopefully, this is usually where people start going ping, ping, ping. And oh, by the way, I'm sure you guys saw the big news. Thank you, Mr. Steve. Oh, speak of the devil, the live and set ending. I have created something I now call the live and set ending effect, where when Steve promotes you, you jump up by nearly 100 subscribers in a matter of days. I went from like 240 to 320. Boom. And I have you to thank for it. Danny Staines here says, greetings from South Carolina. Lance Javen says, hiya, Thrash. Danny Staines says, I'm here. I'm here. Is that a Horton Hears the Who reference? But yeah, Danny, we're so happy to see you. Keith E says, happy Memorial Day. Yes, and to you. And to all of us who have either served or have had family members serve in our military, or more specifically, anyone who's lost family members. This is when we memorialize them. Jenny says, I laugh out loud. Yeah, Steve says, a little bit blurry there, Robert. Yeah, I noticed that myself. I think it might have something to do with the backlighting. It's still very, very bright up here. I don't, because I haven't done anything differently with the camera. So I'm assuming it's just the backlight. Hopefully, the sun should go down, hopefully in a couple of minutes, and we might get a much crisper shot. I did notice that earlier, so bear with me. How's the sound, at least? Sean Innes says, very soft focus. My resolution is set at 1080. Maybe not be so backlit there. Thrash. Yeah, that's the problem, actually. That's the sun. I can't really do much about that. I thought about filming in the garage tonight, but remember the last time I filmed in the garage, we had that glitching problem because the further I get from my modem, the glitchier I get. Shannon says, cheat to your right. Cheat to your right, Thrash, if possible. Cheat to my right. Okay, right, I'm going to have to cheat you. Keithy says, hello, Steve. Are you back in Pennsylvania? Good question. Lance Javen says, good luck with getting the shirts. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Lance brought up a good point. I got an email from the shirt people saying they've just sent the shirts. So now, of course, for the holiday, I won't get them for tomorrow, but hopefully I'll get them very, very, very soon. Life and Settings says, sound is good. Sean says as well. And Steve is still in Indiana. Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. So anyway, if it gets too intolerable, I might do this post in parts. That is to say, bop out, mess with the resolution, come back in. But since the sun is setting as we speak here on Old Cape Cod, maybe when the backlighting goes down, or maybe if I open the hold that thought, guys. Hold that thought. That accomplished nothing. I thought maybe a little front lighting might help, but that helped not. So here, I'm going to undo that. Actually, no, I'm just going to leave it. John Orchard said, keep going, you will make it. All moments start small. Lovely enthusiasm. Dilly Dan blog says, yep, another Dilly Dan mentioned. Shannon says, ha, just move to your right if possible and eliminate as much of the backlight as possible. You know what? I'm going to try that. Hold that thought for 1 second, my friends. That seems to have made it worse. I'm sorry. Here, we'll just... Is that any better? Well, at least you can hear me okay. Anyway, Keithy says, Steve, Indiana wants me. Indiana wants you. Lynn Chafin saying hi to Sean and Keith. Steve says, turns out I can go back there. Daryl says, Bob, hoorah, my brother from another. Daryl, it is so good to see you, young man. Welcome to the party. A lot of people having fellowship saying hello to everybody. My flock is everywhere. You did make it, and I'm psyched. Hello, Sarah. She says, love, Pons, brother. Thank you for coming today. I'm glad I was able to make it, and thank you for joining us tonight. I just jumped. There we go. A lot of people saying hello to each other. I'm going to try to scroll down because I don't want to get too far behind. Sean says the other way I meant. Actually, no, you were right, Sean. For some reason, I thought I had things inverted. So I thought when you said right, you actually meant left. But no, when you were right, you meant right. And right. Now, did it improve things at all? Health of Alex is here, says, hey, everyone. Steve says, did you put Vaseline on the lens? Ew, no. Kevin Scott 76 is here. Oh my God, Kevin Scott 76. I was hoping you could make it. Says, hey Thrash, I'm driving back from DC. Well, thank you for joining us while driving. Don't stick to the audio and not the visual. I'd rather you keep your attention to the wheel. Oh, and by the way, what's the name of your handle on TikTok? I told my wife, but I think I said it wrong, so I'm gonna try it again. Sean says, I'll shut up now, LOL. No, Sean, you keep talking. I'm the one who's following instructions improperly. Lynn says, hey, Thrash, quite the DVD collection. I know he's been getting hundreds of them lately. He's like stockpiling DVDs. Keith says, hello, Terrell, in my flock. Oh, Terrell Eugene Bellinger is here. I'm very sorry, Terrell. I didn't see you pop in. I see my flock. Well, anyway, I'll take your word for it. I'm sure Terrell Eugene Bellinger is here. Hello, Teb. And I'll just keep an eye out for your first comment. My flex says, told you I would. I'm drunk and high, but I'm definitely here. And I'm glad you could make it in all of those qualities. Daryl Johnson says, yeah, you're a little fuzzy. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't want to play with the resolution, but let's just press on for now and see if when the sun goes down, because Sean said what I was thinking. That's the backlight that's really messing things up. So let's just wait until the sun goes down, and then we shall revisit the matter. Sean Innes says, I always give those instructions from the other person's point of view. Well, actually, no, you were right. I was actually supposed to move to my right, and I was moving to my left. Daryl Johnson says, Lance, did you show Bob the picture of your DVDs? He sure did, and they were very, very impressive. Wajamin's here, says hello, everyone. Wajamin, so glad you could make it. Hello. Danny Skate says, you're not showing videos. The picture is good enough. Next. Very, very spot on of you, Danny. Thank you so much. And like I said, it might get crisper as the backlighting goes down. All right, fine. Steve says, seriously, give the lens a wipe. Did that help? Didn't think so. But seriously, anyway. Lynn says, I missed Ring stream RNG's stream. Boo on me. I'm sure she'll give you dispensation. Gary Carpenter was here, says, hey there, I'm back. So good to see you, Gary. Darrell Johnson says, did he tell you that you need a bigger shelf? You need a bigger shelf. Keithy says, Snagglepuss always had stage left on stage right. Yes, he did, didn't he? Sean says, my desktop crashed. Bad karma on my phone. That's too funny. That's too funny. Ken Wilkinson is here. Says, good evening, Bob. Good evening, Mr. Wilkinson. So nice to see you. A lot of people saying hello to each other. So it looks like I'm caught up. And I'm going to try to move down just a little bit more here. Perhaps Now, to me, it looked like when I got out of the back lighting, it looked a little crisper. Do you guys confer, concur? And Gary Carpenter says Snagglepuss always said exit stage left, but then he would always move to the right. Anyway, so how are we folks all doing today, by the way? How are we enjoying our Memorial Day weekend? For those of us who were either veterans or had veterans in the family, um, again, commiserations. Also, while people are filtering in, that's great, but I just want to give a few shout outs to people who aren't here that sometimes can't make it, but always try to watch it replay. I'd like to say hello to, I'm going to butcher your name, I'm so sorry. Sarita Abney, who always checks me out in replay, but usually can't make it to the show. Same with Baked Bean. I want to say hello to you. Thank you for joining us in the replay. Tom, the Hungry Jerk, usually shows up here, but can't really interact because he's at work. But I want to say hello right off the bat. Also, some of our other fine folks, Music Girl 67. We haven't seen you in a while, but we're thinking about you and hope all is well. Cindy DD tries to make it, but doesn't always manage to. And but we are always thinking about you. Lisa Fields and Georgia Ayers, Ayers. I always say Ayers. Georgia Ayers. We miss you, by the way. And by the way, anyone that I have passed over, please forgive me. I could actually spend days saying hi to people who sometimes can make it and sometimes can't. So please, to all of you who aren't here tonight, um, consider yourself commiserated. We're thinking about you and hope you're having a great weekend. I'm sure Tug will make it at some point. Oh my gosh, Emily Miller is here. Says, "Hey y'all, hey to you too. Good to see you." Yeah, Daryl Johnson just said no, Tom. Yeah, Tom works on Sunday nights now. And Gary says, "Oh, I'm guessing you mean your phone is terrible." Oh, Emma Miller says weather sucks. Yeah, my dad lives in North Carolina. He told me about the weather you guys were getting is crazy. And I just jumped here. Shannon says relaxed day. Contemplative. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Daryl John says, "How many vets we have here?" That's a good question. Did anybody serve? Please let us know. And Zoop Blanche isn't here either, by the way. Hello, Zoop. Um, uh, in replay land. And Gary Carpenter. Wow, great minds think alike. Z isn't here. Lynn says, "I got a job at the orange juice factory, but I got canned. I could not concentrate, but I'm bummed." I had a job at a ground pork factory. It was a crushing bore. Let's see what else we get going on here. Everyone says, "I thought Memorial Day was to remember all the military members we lost, and Veterans Day was for the ones still alive." Yes, that is absolutely the case, Emily. Memorial Day specifically, where we. Oh my God, Tom is here. Says, "Hi guys at work." Yeah, we knew that. We were saying hello to you in absentia. But glad you could make it for that post. But yes, Emily, Veterans Day is for the veterans who served but are still with us. Memorial Day are for the ones we lost. But we commemorate the ones who are still alive as a commemoration as well. At least I always do. It's a good time to be thinking about our veterans. Oh, and Danny's given us a link. That's very, very nice. Steve said, "Never say Happy Memorial Day." You raise a valid point. Now that you mention it, I guess that is not a good way to say. The heck was that? My lights are going fluky. But anyway, yes. Dan, sorry, that was not done out of disrespect, Steve. But you're right. I shouldn't say. Maybe I should say commemorative. I don't know. But anyway, Memorial Day to all you folks. Dan is giving us a link. Excellent. Thank you very much. Can please continue. My flux has shared you out in my community, Twitter, Discord, Flow Pawns. You're amazing. Love you some flocking much. Oh, thank you. Very, very kind of you. Giggle. Thank you. Gary Carpenter says T-Pawns. Ouch. I know, right? And there are those lights again. Emily Miller says, okay, but did y'all know Tiger King, the Unabomber, and R. Kelly are in prison here in North Carolina? I did not know that. That's an amazing point. I did not know that. Shannon says, not me, but lots of families served. My pitched, uh, my pitch a fit when I considered it. My what pitched a fit? Your mother pitched a fit? Mine certainly did when I was considering it. Gary Cameron says, M, how did you know that? Shannon says, my parents, that's. Oh, he goes on to say, my parents, that is, pitched a fit. Yeah, my mother went bonkers when she saw the recruitment forms I had in my stuff, but it served right for going through my stuff. You know what? She wasn't going through my stuff. I had a stack of papers on my desk, and one of them was an army recruitment brochure, and she did not want me to join the military. And I can't say I blame her. Um, I would have talked to her about it if I had decided to go, but I decided not to go. And make a long story short, I have a bad knee. And so after some discussion, we decided that I probably wouldn't make it through basic training. So I opted to go to college instead. So my mother was correct, but she was in fact adamant that didn't join the military. Uh, Daryl Johnson says, all the military we have lost, indeed. Gary Cameron says, R.I.P. Ed Ames. Indeed. Lance Chapin says, thank you to all that have served, past and present. Very well said. And then says, Rabbit Holes, Gary, Rabbit Holes. My flock says, Dan, if you're here, love you so flocking much. Thank you for everything you do for me and everyone. Dan, you're epic. Gary Carpenter says, rabbit holes. Thanks, Roger the Rabbit. Let's just see. Les Jameson says, Hope Tracy is recovering well. You know, it's funny. I just talked to her and she's exhausted. She's recovering nicely, but she's exhausted. So, but thank you for mentioning that to me. Tracy Roth Myers, you are also sorely missed. Hope you get some rest and we'll see you very, very soon. Steve says, my mom always had conniption fits. My mom never had conniption fits. Was just really adamant that I didn't join the military. And I wouldn't say I did it to cheese her off, but I must have. I didn't expect her to be in favor of it. But I think I should at least hear them out. Back then they used to actually come to the high schools to try to recruit kids, and I think I should at least hear what they say. But again, it was not for Mr. Pons. But for those of you who have joined, I want to thank you for your service. Jenny's given us another link. Emily Miller says, my daughter was in the junior ROTC for 3 years, but never enlisted. We'll thank her for, well, at least giving it a shot. My Felix says, I'm learning disabled, so I could not go into the Air Force. But I love military so much. Thank you for serving. Love you all. That's very kind words. Thank you. Thank you. She goes on and mentions family. Gary Cameron says, I wouldn't be caught dead in the military. I understand. There are people who don't want to serve, and I can certainly respect their wishes. Emily Miller says, I was going to join the Navy when I was 17, but was told as a single mom I wouldn't have I would have had to assign custody of my daughter to my mom. I'm sorry, you jumped while I was reading that. Sometimes when the comment jumps, I lose persistence of vision. Oh, and Gary Carpenter says, what's wrong with her? Oh, she had to have, Tracy had to have some surgery and is now recovering. Daryl Jones says, active duty Army and duty Air Force got too old for the Marines, LOL. Really? So, hang on. You were in the Army and the Air Force? Cute trick. Well, thank you for your service. Danny Staten says, I'm watching Stripes tonight for the holiday. Oh, well. Steve says, my wife was in the Army. I was a Cub Scout. I consider that serving. Len says, my dad was a Navy man. I miss him dearly. Love you, Dad. Oh, commiserations, Len. Emily Miller says, the military isn't for everybody. No, it isn't. Emily goes on to say, sad life I made as far as being a brownie. And Daryl says, yes. Well, again, thank you for both score. Thank you for your Army service and Air Force service. Denny says, they turned me down for the Army. They said I was too violent. That's funny. That's funny. Daryl Johnson says, not the same time, of course. That'd be a cute trick. John Bernstein is here, by the way. And thank you, John, for joining us, by the way. Good to see you again. And he says, I was in the Salvation Army. That's where I bought my last VCR. Gary Carper says, surgery. Ooh. Well, she passed through it in flying colors. And that's the good news. But I think she's just wiped out. My Flock is Everywhere says, Dan, let me know if you're up to still doing shows with me on whatever. Oh, speak of the devil. Tracy Fractured History and More says, hey everyone, Tracy, so glad to see you. And I have to check out and subscribe to your new channel. I meant to do it today, but I was on, well, I saw you on Dave's post today, and I was having trouble posting for some reason. It just got away from me. But anyway, so glad that you're feeling better, that you felt up to joining the show tonight. And I will find and subscribe to your channel this evening. And Dan, do us the honors. Give Miss Tracy a link. Emily Miller says, I've shopped there, John. Haven't we all? And Sean is saying hello to Tracy's new Fractured History and More. I love the title, but I absolutely love it. And also don't forget Wajamin if you haven't done Wajamin's link yet, by the way. And House of Alex 2. Pretty please, sugar on top. And of course, everyone wants to know how Tracy is feeling. And John Bernstein says, well, I know where that went. The Salvation Army or the VCR? Lynn says, hi, Tracy just texted you. That's very, very kind of you. A lot of people saying hello to Tracy. Oh, and my Flux says, Pawns, you too. I'm doing more now. I would absolutely love to. My schedule's kind of crazy between my summer schedule at work and the computer course I'm doing, but stay in contact. And we will look into doing another show very, very soon. Tracy says, I'm slow, but all is great. Excellent. Dan has given us a link. Emily says, Tracy, I'm slow without the excuse of surgery. And Lance just subscribed. Excellent. And Tracy says, thank you all so very much for all the love. Well, I can think of no one who deserves it more than you. And Wajamin commemorates and says, glad you are doing well, Tracy. Steve says, calling my optometrist? Is it because of my screen? I'm so sorry. Apparently, it's a little blurry for everyone, by the way. But again, if that just damn sun would just set. Although, again, if it still doesn't improve after the show, I'll check the settings. By the way, I may have to redo the settings on my live on my camera or whatever. Emily says, "What are you calling him, sad life?" Oh, but I'm bummed. What are you calling me? The optometrist. Oh, Gary says, Lance, I found another movie with your name in it. Oh, very good. Very good. Let us know what that is. My flock just says, Pawns, you just let me know when you're free. You are epic. Oh, as blank. Thank you very, very, very much. Gerald Johnson says, I was in the Army from 75 to 78, Air Force from 82 to 87. Not a trick. Well, it's still very, very impressive. You must be substantially older than I, for some reason, had stuck in my head that you were younger than me. You must be older than me because in 1975 I was 8. So, and Len says Emily Miller, fuzzy face thrash. Yes, I'm having a fuzzy face tonight. Because of, well, we're not sure what. Oh my gosh, Retro Cyril is here. He says, "Hey all, Retro, so glad you could make it. Glad you could join us." By the way, um, what do you mean says, "Do you have anti focus, autoficus?" I think it's a reference to the lack of focus. I live in fear of tampering with my camera while I am in midstream, because I don't know if any of you guys remember, I did that once and the camera went dead and I had to go back out and back in. Uh oh, he has a manual focus. I probably do. I'm afraid to do anything with it at this time. Uh, Retro Serial, glad to be here. Thank you. Uh, Sean Innes says my ficus are plastic and automatic. Emily, thank you. House of Alex says, have you tried something A? I have not tried something A, but it sounds wonderful. Steve says midstream, LOL. Yes, never change horses in midstream. Denny's Dayton has given us a link. Thank you. John Collins is here. Says, hey Bob, how's my video today? John posted an excellent film review on Facebook today of the new live action Little Mermaid. I highly recommend everyone please check it out if you have Facebook. If not, join Facebook so you can check him out. Um uh House of Alex says, have you tried something like putting your hand to the lens to refocus it? Want me to try that? I had not tried that, but to me, it seemed like it did the trick. Oh my God, House of Alex, I love you. He says it happens with my phone all the time. Oh my God, I've actually never tried to focus my camera manually. I've always gone into the settings and done it there. I I am King Thrash, which means I could probably do this. That actually seems pretty darn crisp. Now, can everyone see me okay now? Am I better now? And I want to thank you guys for your persistence and sticking around through all this Misergots. I just jumped, so I'm gonna go back. Oh, Gary Cameron says Lance and Guinevere. Let's just see. I'm gonna try to catch up. Oh yeah, the manual ficus, the artificial ficus. Tracy's. I'm just gonna call you Tracy, okay? Tracy says, "Me too, Robert. We are the same age." LOL. Yeah, I'm a few months older than you are, but yes, we are virtually the same age. Um, House of Alex, I can't thank you enough. I'm glad I tried something A. Uh, and I'm going to remember that. Like, wow. Shona says, Emily, I do have some talents. A green thumb is not among them either. Steve says, fixed it. You know what? I actually think the focus is actually now better than before. You know, you know what? I bet you know what happened. I bet I know what happened. I was trying to set because sometimes the camera points up too high, and all you get is my neck and the ceiling, and sometimes down too low, and it cuts off the top of my head, which I think looks weird. I think when I was adjusting the camera, I may have toggled the focus and not noticed it. Lance just jumped off the page. I'm sorry, Lance. Um, my fluxes look better. Oh wow, I was way behind. But don't worry, I'll catch up. I'll catch up. Actually no, I'm past this point. I went back too far. This is why I don't like Oh yeah, a lot of people saying it worked, looks better. Um, House of Alex says sometimes it's a little thing. That's what she said. Well, that's what she said. No, that's what she said. Bad joke. Um, yes, much better. Thank you, Ian. By the way, Emily Miller says I remember a lot of influencers would have to do this to focus when showing products. Oh, Superplex. Oh my gosh, Superplex. Hey, good to see you, man. I'm glad you could make it. And he says Kenneth Anger has passed away. I'm very sad. That's sad for the loss. Thank you for letting us know, Sean. And this is Gary Carpenter. I marvel at people who are good growing stuff and know the Latin names as well as the other names. Yeah, it's funny that when people really have an interest in something, just how proficient they can be at it. Uh, Chris says Meshuggah, LOL, Robert. I do go Meshuggah sometimes. Akithi says in England he would be a crisp, here just a potato chip. Good point. Um, oh, Steve says yes, it's way too clear and sharp here. Hmm. Okay, there's no pleasing some people, and yes, I know you're kidding. Uh, Lance, I'm sorry. I think I missed your comment, but it was something about how we have only 14 likes and 19 people in house, and that we could improve that ratio. Denny Staten says the smart guy would have put a giant cardboard bookcase in front of the window, maybe something. Well, you see, here's the problem. This isn't big enough to cover this. This is my sliding glass door. You know that porch that I'm always taking videos off of, either for turkeys or the osprey when they're flying over. This is the door to my deck, and it's huge. This does not cover both. Um, so I tried to like jockey it. So I got the curtain on one side and the framing device on the other. Otherwise, all you see is the drinks cabinet. But I suppose I could go out and get another one of these, but these things aren't cheap, you know. Oh my gosh. Uh Zublik says life. Kenneth Anger was 96. Wow. Not that's people living to 100 more and more. It's throwing me off. I doubt I'll get that far. Tom says I was in the National Guard in the 80s. I'm 58. I'm going to join Trump's Space Force and become a hero. Fighting what? He'd like to know. John Collins says the focus is awesome now. Thank you. Sean says I can almost read the image reflected on those glasses. Wow. Actually, let me like if I stare just right. Wow, that's like creepy. I gotta get those non glare glasses, but they're like $300. Gary Kramer says I can see, I can still see you if I can get it to stop buffering. Oh no, oh no, buffering now, or is that your phone? But either way, I'm sorry. Is anyone else buffering? Emily Miller says, Denny, maybe he likes the window. If he had sunshine, it would be bragging too. We do have sunshine. The big thing, by the way, is this house gets very, very stuffy. So I leave the screen is closed, but the actual glass door is open to let air in here, by the way. I should put a sheet on the inside of that curtain, by the way. That might do it for. Let me. I'm going to come up with something for next time. I promise I'll come up with something for next time. But the focus is better now. Um, Zuplex is asking, has Ed Ames passed away? Gary. Dennis has been storming here for 3 days and cold as well. As a well digger's but bum. I'm almost caught up. I think. Rest in peace, Tina Turner. Yes, Lance, definitely rest in peace, Tina Turner. That was a heartbreaker. Zublex is like, hello, T-Bones. Yes, I noticed you got here too, by the way. Darrell says he did, David. He was 96. Hi, Mrs. Thrash is what, by the way? Everyone says hello, or they're going to. I'm about to get 15 hellos. She's like, um, let's just see. Tracy says, did Kenneth Anger write the Hollywood book? Zubik says, Henry Kissinger turned 100 today. Crazy. Steve said George Maharis and now Ed Ames. Now I have to redo my Still Alive and Kicking now. Ooh, that's tragic. Gary Carpenter says, and rest in peace, Harry Belafonte. Yes. Zublik says, yes, he did, Tracy. Hollywood Babylon. Thank you. Thank you. I knew there was something there. You were almost there. And Garrett Graham says, we're losing our great stars. We certainly are. We certainly are. Emily Miller says, sorry, when I click on the notification, it brings me straight to chat. I have to go out to like the video. That is odd, but I'm glad you're liking it. Let's just see. Zublik says George Maharis passed away too. And yes, he did. Gary Cameron says Pat just did an interview with him. John Hepfer. Hello, John Hepfer. John Hepfer says R.I.P. George and Ed. Hope Rob Lowe is safe. Definitely, definitely. Of course, he's on Atkins. He'll live forever. But welcome to the party. Thank you for joining us tonight. Zublik says no, T-Pons. No to what? Oh, well, keep me posted. Oh, no buffering here. Good, good, good. I forget when I'm a little behind, people answer questions that I've already moved on from. That happens all the time with Retro Nerd Girl. Gary Garman says people that are living to 100 or more are taking care of themselves. They certainly are. Zublik says, what is tonight's topic? Wow. We're half an hour in plus, and I haven't even gotten around to it just because I'm so busy having fellowship with my people. The topic is we're doing sort of a Memorial Day thing. I want everyone to talk about their favorite celebrity military people and references to sort of Hollywood and the military. It could be civilians who themselves served in the military. It could be, you know what, heck with it. If you want to talk about favorite war films, I can always talk about good war films or even good war TV shows, but something Memorial Day related. And in fact, that actually, I have a trivia game. And what I did was I did something a little bit different. And let me know if you like this. What I did was because we get scores when we're halfway through, I decided to break it up a little. The first half are going to be uh, about relating to TV shows, and the other half are relating to war movies. So if one person might like one and not like the other, but they're not going to be stuck answering questions in the same theme. So if you don't have luck with the first part, you might have better luck with the second part. I just thought it might be a nice way of breaking it up, by the way. Oh yeah, everyone. Hey, Mrs. Thrash. Hey, Mrs. Thrash. That's like so cute. When you guys are so nice to my missuses. Les Given says, Emily, you can't escape death, but try to live life to the fullest. Emily Miller says 86, not 87. I'm referring to the year, not your age. John Hepfer says, Audie Murphy, my boy, R.I.P. legend. He really was. He was an amazing man. Sean Innes says, William Holden, Bridges of Toko Re. Tracy says Joe DiMaggio. As a New Englander, I'd have gone with Ted Williams. But Emily says a lot of actors served in the 50s. Gary Carpenter says message retracted to you as well. A lot of Elvis fans out there. Excellent. I see, because Lance Javen says what singer served in the army in the 50s. Danny Staten says Kelly Shares because of the freaking awesome theme song. That was, oh my god, who did that song? It was I know that the name of the group. It's like a cool sounding name. They were a folk group, and Kathy Coleman actually sang with them for a while. But yes, "Burning Bridges" is a great song. Tracy says Cindy Koufax. Kerry Carpenter says it's quiet for now. Daryl Jones says William Shatner is 92 and still alive. He certainly is. Gary Carpenter says my only war film I like is Patton. That counts. Daryl Jones says I get Burning Bridges playing on YouTube playlist. Oh, Chris Christopherson, Tracy says, thank you. Mrs. Pons for sharing your hobby with us. Oh, that's so nice of you. Oh, Tug is here. Oh my God, Tug is here. He says, I'm just jumping in to say hi, spending night doing things with family, but always have to support Thrash and his friends. Tug, thank you so much for joining us. And stay as long as you can, but I'll say hello, goodbye, just to consider it covered. China says Earl Halbin served, I believe, and he was also in the Bridges of Toko Ri. Ken Wilkins says John Pertwee was in the Navy. I did not know that. Oh, thank you. Danny Staten says the Mike Curb Convention. Yes, they did Burning Bridges. You know what I'm thinking? We're down to 15 people with something I said. We're down to about 15 people, but David Russ. I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. I will. I just for some reason I can't get your name right, but I'm gonna try it really hard. Rasmussen is back with us. He says, "Hey, David, so glad you can make it. Welcome to the party." Steve says, "Message retracted," and message retracted to you as well. Emily Miller says, "Did Jimmy Stewart serve?" And this is actually what. Oh, Cindy D is here. Oh my God. Hello, Wedgemines, Black Sean, and she was on to say hello to a lot of people. Oh, David Razuman says close. All right, I'm just going to call you David, okay? Because that's my brother's name. I can say that. But thank you, Dave, for your understanding. I'm going to go ahead and start with the quiz because I think we might actually give some of these away in the comment section because people will ask me things that are actually in here. So I'm going to start. And by the way, Cindy D says hello. I got to say hello to you. Cindy, so glad you could make it. Thank you. You said you were going to try, and I'm so glad you did. But if I miss anyone's comments during the quiz, please forgive me. I know that caused someone to have their feelings hurt, and I'm still very, very sorry about that. Last week, I tried to keep up, and I failed. So I'm going to just say I'm sorry now. If while the quiz is going on, if I miss a comment, it's not intentional. But I'm going to start with question 10, and the first 5 are going to deal with TV-related celebrities. What Gilligan's Island star was actually a decorated World War II pilot? Was it A. Alan Hale Jr., B. Russell Johnson, C. Jim Backus, or D. Charles Maxwell? I shall repeat. What Gilligan's Island star was in actuality a decorated World War II pilot? And I'm not going to bother with the reading them off again because apparently you all got. Oh, Steve says Jim Backus. When you deliberately answer the questions wrong, I know you're busting my chops. One thing I got to read Daryl Johnson's oddball. Why don't you knock it off with them negative waves? Why don't you dig how beautiful it is out here? Why don't you say something righteous and hopeful for a change? From a Mad Dog, from who was it saying it to? He was saying it to Captain Stubing, but I can't remember. Was it Mad Dog? Whatever the mechanic's name was in Kelly's Heroes. But yeah, I loved Donald Sutherland's character in Kelly's Heroes. But yes, A it is. Steve says, "Oh my girl, you've done it again." But yes, wait, hang on a second. Emily Miller got the name because she said the name, so she got it right. Everyone's saying A. Let me repeat this again. A is Alan Hale Jr., B is Russell Johnson, C is Jim Backus, and D is Charles Maxwell. So, no, the skipper wasn't actually a World War II. It was Russell Johnson. It was B, the professor. So, Ron Unprepared is here, and Uncle Joe, and he says B. And yes, you are correct. It was the professor. So I see what you guys did. You all thought it was a trick question. You all thought the military veteran in the show would be the big military veteran in my question, and busted. But anyway, I'm going to go on to question 9. Question 9. Which Star Trek star was severely wounded during the Normandy invasion? Was it A, Leonard Nimoy, B, William Shatner, C, DeForest Kelly, or D, James Doohan? And Cindy, in answer to your question, yes, because this is not an actual contest with prizes, just a trivia game. If you feel you want to give yourself a point because you feel somehow you're still correct in your response, go ahead. And this time I am going to reread it just to avoid the confusion. What Star Trek star was severely wounded during the Normandy invasion? A, Leonard Nimoy, B, William Shatner, C, DeForest Kelly, or D, James Doohan? And thank you, Daryl. Moriarty. Moriarty. Oh, it's Moriarty, but he pronounced it Moriarty was the character's name. Thank you. I thought he had some weird nickname like Mad Dog or something. Oh, John Collins says, Bob, I can tell you know, and YouTube and the YouTube world, I have a deeper respect for you. Make your videos because I did my video in one take. Bob, I'm sure you saw me being very careful with my words. I did saw you. I did see that you were very careful with your words. Oh, Gary Carpenter, yes. To question 10, it was the professor. And yes, you're right. It was D, James Doohan. In fact, little story. I actually met him at a Star Trek convention here on Cape Cod. This is years ago. He was still alive even. And he was talking about his war experience. And it's funny because the guy I went with, my friend, we're both huge World War II buffs. And everyone else in the crowd is talking to him about Star Trek, and we're like picking his brains about his World War II experiences. And he was a very, very nice man. I believe the guy who he lost a finger actually, it literally shot the finger off, or at least had to be removed afterwards. But he actually received 6 bullets. The one in the chest could have killed him, but he had like a cigarette box or something, like something out of a movie. But he had a very impressive career, and I believe the sentry who shot at him was his cousin in real life or something. Oh, Emily Miller says, welcome to all the new subs. Yes, for any of you, though, who are with us, who joined me through the Live and Sad Ending effect, I got 80 new subscribers this week. 80. I got 80 new subscribers. Thank you, Steve. I want to thank all of you for joining, and welcome to the party. And let's see, where am I? Anyway, question 8. What comic TV actor worked for military intelligence? This is actually a good one. A, Buddy Ebsen, B, Hal Smith, C, Edgar Buchanan, or D, Eddie Albert? I shall repeat. What comic TV actor worked for military intelligence during the Second World War? I shall repeat. A, Buddy Ebsen, B, Hal Smith, C, Edgar Buchanan, or D, Eddie Albert? And Steve, give yourself a half point for that one. Yes, Julia Child did work for military intelligence during World War II, but it was for M5, not for American military intelligence. And that wasn't one of the options. But wow, you guys are on your game tonight. Sadly, no, it wasn't Edgar Buchanan for those of you who did say C. But no, D, Eddie Albert. This is actually I was reading this, I'm like, really? Before America's entry into the war, apparently the Germans were trying to use Mexican harbors as sub bases. Eddie Albert went undercover in a traveling circus as a clown and a tightrope walker. He walked a tightrope. This is part of his cover story. And they went around Mexico so he could report where he found evidence of Kriegsmarine putting subs in Mexican harbors. Wow. He later went on, I believe it was in the medical corps in the Navy. or the Marines, one of those two. But he was at the Battle of Tarawa, picking up the dead and wounded, and that was a tragic, tragic story. But anyway, yes, it was Eddie Albert. So, oh, hey, the Nostalgic Pod Blast is here. He says, "Hi, all, Nostalgic Pod Blast. Thank you so much for joining us. Do me a favor, Danny. Please give a link to the Nostalgic Pod Blast. He's been putting up some really, really, really amazing material on his content channel." And Sydney D says, "Interesting stuff, Thrash. Thank you. Thank you. This was actually a fun one to research. I put a lot of work into this one. But I was having a lot of fun doing it." Shannon says, "I don't think it was Albert. He was awarded the Silver Star or something for excessive bravery." Yeah, at that I believe that was at Tarawa. But this was actually the war was going on, but America hadn't entered it, so he was working with military intelligence. And Miller says, "My uncle did something with computers and intelligence in the Navy during his full career." That's crazy. Steve says, "Darn it, oh the heck." I'm just gonna skip through some of these comments just because I know that Tom says I'm still here. Oh, Nostalgic says, "Thank you, sir. Hi to Tracy's new channel." Shana says, "Battle of Tarawa. Albert earned the Bronze Star with Combat V. He fought with the first wave of combat that lasted for 3 days." Yeah, he was very heavily involved. But it's on YouTube. Try to hear the story of when he was working, taking the dead and wounded off. It's just I won't go into it here. But if for those of you that are interested, please check it out. Gary Gabriel says, "I knew it was Albert. Remember, he always told stories on Green Acres." He had a great storytelling voice. Anyway, moving forward. Question 7. What sci-fi TV icon was a paratrooper in the Philippines during the Second World War? Was it A. Rod Serling, B. Gene Roddenberry, C. John Newland, or D. Irwin Allen? I shall repeat. What sci-fi TV icon was a paratrooper in the Philippines during World War II? A. Rod Serling, B. Gene Roddenberry, C. John Newland, or D. Irwin Allen? And Danny, thank you for putting the link. Jonah says, "Interesting. I had heard about Tarawa, but when I found the military intelligence, it was just too interesting not to use." Dave says, "Thrash Pondo reminds me of my uncle." Shauna says, "A. Roddenberry is a pilot." Yes, yes, he was. Suffered a terrible crash too, but survived. But anyway, virtually all of you got it. Yes, A. It was Rod Serling. And I always go back to it's such a sad story. He hurt his back in a jump in one engagement, and a friend carried him for like 5 or 6 miles to an aid station. Later on, after he recovered, he was back in the field. They were at this advanced point, and they military dropped a crate of supplies to them. And when it came down, it swooped in and decapitated this friend of his. It's a very, very sad story. But that's why Serling wrote at least 2 episodes of the Twilight Zone involving the Filipino campaign. Tracy says, "Did not know that about Serling." Lynn says, "Hey, Thrash, is Ian and you on Monday night?" I should have asked Ian. I think he just dropped by to say hi. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Emily says, "Just Googled, Sterling had a good reason to serve." Yes, he did. In fact, I was reading about that. He pushed for European service. He wanted to fight the Nazis and was a little disappointed when he was sent into the Pacific campaign. Although fighting the Axis is fighting the Axis. There was no wrong answers. Shannon says, "Gary Carpenter, yeah, my typing can suck sometimes." The new computer course, they want me to learn how to actually type without looking and not do hunt and peck. I told him good luck. Zublik says he wrote an episode, The Twilight Zone, about prejudice against Japanese veterans. Yes. Yes, he did. Well, he wrote a couple along those themes, by the way. I don't think he held any real malice against the imperial military, or at least against the Japanese as a people. I don't know if he can say that about the European front. I'm just going to leave that to conjecture. And Danny, thank you for the link. Yes, Superlink says Sterling was Jewish. Yes, and his older Robert actually enlisted into the military before him. He had to wait till he graduated high school. Steve says Rod smoked 10 packs a day. 10? I heard 4. 10 packs a day? I know he was a chain smoker. In fact, the producers didn't want him smoking during the bumpers on the show because they weren't getting paid for it. They were like, if Chesterfield wants to pay us, we'll have you smoke their cigarettes. And he goes, no, I can't do takes without a cigarette. We'll be here all day because I won't be able to focus. Nostalgic says, that is a sad story. Thrash Pondo Pawns remind me of the fate of Vic Morrow, Jennifer Jason Leigh's dad, on the set of Twilight Zone, the movie. That was a very, very, very tragic story for him and the 2 young children. I'm not sure how many of you remember this, but there was an accident. A helicopter that was going overhead hit a downdraft and crashed into Vic Morrow and the 2 children he was carrying. Jenny says, Zublik says that killed him life. Yes, Rod Serling did die of lung problems from being a chain smoker. Jenny says there's some old Twilight Zone episode with Mr. Sulu from Trek, something about a sword. Yes, I forget the name of that one. That was actually, they held that one out of circulation for years. I believe was Neville Brand in that as well? I believe that was, but yes, that deals with racism in post-war America against the Japanese. Len says, guys, got to go. Phone is about to die. Sorry, guys. Hope to see you all tomorrow night. Hope to see you as well, by the way. Take care of yourself. And Lance Javen, don't forget your movie. Emil Miller says it's easy to go through cigarettes if you don't finish them. Good point. Daryl Johnson says Takai was born to Japanese American parents with whom he lived in the U.S., run internment camps during the World War II. Yes, he actually tells a story about how to this day, he remembers being 5 years old, I want to say, and the knock came at the door, and they were told to get on the transport, and they were taken away to a internment camp. Terribly, very sad story. Sean says, Gary, I was giving Emily grief for a typo before, so I was due. Zublik says, Sterling was a man who had a bigger view on life. Cindy D says, Philip Morris paid the Lucy cast to smoke, and they did. I never knew that about Philip Morris. Steve says, overhead, not exactly. A lot of people saying goodbye to Lance. And Dave says, how many are living on Star Trek? Some, but not many. Off the major cast, the only ones I can think of are actually, at the top of my head, are Shatner and Sulu. I think their feud is keeping them alive. Tom is still listening. Shatner says, I thought you meant focus. I didn't notice. I thought that whole thing. I think you guys were doing a bit. Steve says Neville Brand was Brenda Vaccaro's brother. Not really. They just sounded alike. They did. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Shannon says Thrash, Emily, Waj, Gary, and I are busting on each other. What else is new? That's half the fun of the fellowship, is being mean to each other in a good-natured kind of way. Sean Ennis says Koenig. Koenig is still alive? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he passed. You know what it was? He had a heart attack a few years ago, but apparently he survived. I thought he had passed on. Thank you. And nostalgic backs that up. I'm so relieved. For some reason, I thought he died. As Zubik says, in other words, Serling didn't allow the war to color his views of the Japanese people. Bravo. And Emily Miller says, Bob, my whole life feels like a bit sometimes. You and me both, miss. You and me both. Oh, and hang on. I think I missed one. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna press on as is because I still have 10. I think I had an next one by mistake. Oh, David says, anyone listen to War of the Worlds? They did that they put on radio. I actually have it on CD, and it's amazing. And Uncle Joe says Chekhov lives. He certainly does. He certainly does. Moving forward, Charlton Heston starred in what World War II Pacific epic? Was it Tora Tora Tora, B Midway, C PT 109, or D Run Silent, Run Deep? I shall repeat. Charlton Heston starred in what World War II Pacific epic? A. Tora Tora Tora, B. Midway, C. PT 109, or D. Run Silent, Run Deep. And Danny, thank you for giving the link to Ron Unprepared, or as we know him, Uncle Joe. And yeah, you've all got this one correct. It was B. Midway, one of my favorite Heston films. It's a great film. I love they you don't see it that often. There's an extended cut where there's this whole bit they do on the Battle of the Coral Sea, which really sets the stage. In the movie that most people see, they just sort of mention it and then it happened off camera. There's a whole bit they do with the Coral Sea, and I prefer it. So anyway, and I believe that's 5. So scores, please. I'll give you guys a second while I make sure that I have these questions all in the right order. Yeah, I do. Oh, a lot of people got 4 to 5. Oh, Mike Silva. Oh my gosh, Mike, how you doing? Mike says he was late. Well, you know what? You can still do the second part of the quiz if you feel like it. But yeah, you were right, by the way. A B was Midway. So glad you could make it, by the way. Danny Staten says Affleck is the bomb in Pearl Harbor. I did not like that movie. I know war movies have to be about the human drama as much as the actual war. They did not balance it properly in Pearl Harbor. Keith E says 0 out of 5. Oops, 0 out of 5. Oops. Doubled down there. Steve says, I watched Airport 75 the other night with Heston and Karen Black. It's hilarious. I love Karen Black. She was a national treasure. Oh, but anyway, I'm sorry. I should be reading some of these scores. If I miss any, Zublix is 4 to 5. Inland is 4 to 5. Sean is 4 to 5. Cindy D is 4 to 5. Ken Wilkinson is 4 to 5. Wajamin is 4 to 5. Ron Prepared is 4 to 5. Daryl Johnson is 4 to 5. Live Inside Ending is 3 out of 5. Gary Carter says, I don't either, but Patton is the only one that I watch. Emily Miller says, Sean, are you looking forward to Steven's legacy? I don't see why not. Someone says, I will still watch Airport 75 live. Ron Prepared says to Denny State, Sean Nuna says, Emily Miller, did they officially green light that? I hope so. It would be cool. And Gary Carpenter says, but I do like World War II era movies. So do I. I really like movies from that time frame. And Emily Miller says, Gary, most of the ones I've watched are from the last 3 decades. Let's see what else we got going on here. Question 5. Which bridge film starred TV icon Robert Vaughn? Bridge Too Far, B. Bridge of the Requai, C. Bridget Remagen, or D. Just the Bridge? I think I got a couple of those out of order, and that's why my numbers were off. But anyway, yes, as you know, I have a credo. Any war movie with the word bridge in the title is a good one. That's why I named my man cave The Bridge. And I've talked about this film on several occasions. So if you haven't seen it, you have a fighting chance, but I shall repeat it. Which bridge film starred TV icon Robert Vaughn? A Bridge Too Far, B. Bridge on the River Kwai, C. Bridge at Remagen, or D. The Bridge? Let's just see here. Dennis Kid says, I watched War Movie once in a while. At least the last one I watched was the stuff Jojo Rabbit. It was a riot. It was. It was a weird dark comedy. Gary Kramer says I don't like Saving Private Ryan. Steve guessed A. Zublik says C. Shanina says Remagen, I think. Emily says B. Oh, Gary Carpenter was 4 for 5. Excellent. A lot of people saying C, but a lot of you are guessing B. Bridge on the River Kwai. Some a bridge too far, but no, it's C. Bridge at Remagen, which was made by David Wolper, one of the best documentary makers of his time, and Zublik's as an alternate guessed The Bridges of Madison County, which I find hilarious. David says, I know nothing. Joe says, question mark. Emily says, I've only seen The Bridges of Terabithia. Oh, and David goes on to say, Hogan's Heroes. He's like, gosh darn it. Shannon is, I used to bicycle near what is left of the bridge of the Remagen Bridge. Really? Oh my God, that is like too cool for words. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, number 4. Which classic World War II film does not star Lee Marvin? A. Pork Chop Hill, B. Dirty Dozen, C. Hell in the Pacific, or D. The Big Red One? I shall repeat. Which classic World War II film does not star Lee Marvin? A. Pork Chop Hill, B. The Dirty Dozen, C. The Hell in the Pacific, or D. The Big Red One? And a lot of you are saying D. Is that because you don't consider it a classic film? Because that was one of his biggest. That was like his big comeback film. So sadly, no. D is not the correct response. A lot of some people are saying C. No, he was in Hell in the Pacific. Hell in the Pacific, by the way, that's the one that is sort of Enemy Mine, but set in the Pacific. He and Toshiro Mifune are two combatants, opposite sides, of course, who end up stuck on an island in the Pacific and have to work together to try to survive. Of course, nobody's guessing B. Everybody knows who's in the Dirty Dozen, but the correct answer is A. Pork Chop Hill. He was not in that, and it's actually about the Korean War. But if you didn't see it, you wouldn't have known that. Moving on to question 3. What Robert Wagner film, I'm sorry, World War II film, I should mention, superfluously, spotlighted class inequity in the United States? Was it A, The Young Lions, B, The Best Years of Our Lives, C, From Here to Eternity, or D, Between Heaven and Hell? I shall repeat. What Robert Wagner World War II film spotlighted class inequality in America? A, The Young Lions, B, The Best Years of Our Lives, C, From Here to Eternity, not From Here to Paternity, or D, Between Heaven and Hell? A lot of people are guessing The Young Lions. It's an excellent guess. Emily Miller just threw up her hand and says, I don't know. It's such a great film, but no one's ever seen it. Let's see for some more guesses. A couple people have guessed The Best Years of Our Lives. I do love that movie. In fact, the gentleman who lost both his arms in that film actually was living on Cape Cod when he retired. Yeah, a lot of people are guessing A. All right, I'm just gonna have to give the giveaway. No, it wasn't the Young Lions, although that's an excellent guess. Between Heaven and Hell, which also starred Buddy Ebsen. It's a great film. It's about this like southern landowner who has a lot of sharecroppers working for him, and he thinks of them as like serfs. And then he serves in World War II and learns to appreciate the plight of the working class and becomes a much better person. You don't know if he's going to live long enough to profit from this lesson. Frank Gorshin is in it in a small part as a sort of sociopathic bodyguard to one of his commanding officers. Harvey Lembeck has a small part as one of his friends. It's a great film, and no one has seen this movie besides me. So please, you know what? Go out and watch Between Heaven and Hell right now. Go. Danny says, all sounds like possible titles for my autobiography. Emma says, I know more about the actor's military service than the military movies. Hey, fair country. Daryl John says, he makes a great bad guy. They all certainly did. Cindy D says, Wagner wasn't in C. Was Robert Wagner wasn't in From Here to Eternity, was he? But anyway, From Here to Eternity wasn't about class inequality in the United States. It's a great epic, love it. But I don't believe he was it. But it's a great question, Cindy. I'm gonna have to go on IMDb. In fact, somebody go on IMDb and see if Robert Wagner was in From Here to Eternity. Shannon says, "Ow, drop the last two. I'm sorry, they're getting tougher, aren't they?" Someone says Robert Wagner was in a film. Ouch. Shannon says not really familiar with any of those titles. I'm sorry, that one was a toughie. Cindy D says From Here to Eternity, a cosmic. 11th ending says nope. Yeah, so Robert Wagner. Yes, Danny. Robert Wagner was in Midway, but he was not in From Here to Eternity. David says Big Valley. Was he in that? No. No, that was Lee Majors, of course. The guy from Nanny the Professor, whose name eludes me for the moment, did a couple of great Twilight Zone episodes. And the middle brother was played. No, I can't think of other things he was in, but no. Steve says Johnny Fontaine was in it, though. The guy who played Johnny Fontaine from Godfather, I believe you. Gary Cameron says, what was that song that Johnny Cash sang about the American Indian at Iwo Jima? You know, I don't know. Thank you, Nostalgic. Peter Breck. Thank you. That was killing me. Thank you. And, oh, by the way, did Terrell Eugene Billinger just stop in and then have to leave? Because everyone was saying hi to him. I couldn't even find his comment. And I haven't heard from him since. Well, anyway, if you're watching this in replay, Teb, thank you for joining us. And sorry we didn't have more time. Cindy D said Pernell Roberts. I thought Pernell Roberts was in Bonanza. And 11th ending says Richard Long was in the end of the. Yes, Richard Long. Richard Long was the oldest brother. And Nostalgic says Richard Long as the other actor in The Big Valley. Yes, who did was in Twilight Zone and any number of other things. And Daryl John says Richard Long was in The Big Valley. He certainly was. MMO says Ballad of Ira Hayes, Gary. Nostalgic says Bonanza is right for Roberts. Gary Cameron says Robert Wagner is now 93. So I think we've ironed that out. But thank you. I wouldn't have gotten Peter Breck. I could have been here all day. Gary Long may have occurred to me sooner or later, but I would have never gotten Peter Breck. Sorry, Mr. Breck. It just fell out of my mind. Steve said Natalie Wood was married to Robert Wagner. We all know that story now, don't we? Nostalgic says still makes me sad about Natalie Wood's death. Suspicious too. Zublik says, did Robert Wagner serve? Don't know. And Nostalgic says sketchy. Yes, it was beyond sketchy. And Denny Staten says, I saw a show last week. They said Wagner threw some actress off a boat. Dude, okay, we can speculate as much as we want, but like, there's no need to go. Oh, and as Alex says, Christopher Walken was there. He was. He was one of the, because there were two couples on the boat. He was in the other one. Anyway, Gary Carpenter says Leonard Wood is still alive. That's nice to know. But anyway, I got 2 questions left. 2. So I'm going to pick up with question 2. What World War II epic was in fact a shameless cash grab because the studio was going bankrupt from the filming of Cleopatra? I figure if you didn't see the movie, you might know this from the anecdote. Was it A, The Thin Red Line, B, Judgment at Nuremberg, C, The Longest Day, or D, The Great Escape? I shall repeat. What World War II epic was in fact a shameless cash grab because the studio was going broke from filming Cleopatra? Was it A, The Thin Red Line, B, The Judgment at Nuremberg, C, The Longest Day, or D, The Great Escape? Some of you are getting this one. Yes. Yes, The Longest Day. That's why if you do watch The Longest Day, you'll notice that a lot of the people in it were actually in Cleopatra. They were borrowing people off the set of Cleopatra to have supporting parts in The Longest Day. The biggest, of course, is Richard Burton and Roddy McDowall. But yeah, there were a lot of people from Cleopatra. But yeah, Cleopatra was in production hell forever, and Fox was literally going bankrupt. So they rattled off a few movies just to get fluid, so they could finish making Cleopatra. And yes, so The Longest Day was in fact the correct answer, C. And the number one question for this Memorial Day special show is: former President Ronald Reagan served in what capacity during World War II? A, Marine sniper, B, Navy sub chaser, C, flew B-24s, or D, in the first motion picture unit? I shall repeat. Former U.S. President Ronald Reagan served in what capacity during World War II? A, Marine sniper, B, a Navy sub chaser, C, flew B-24s, or D, first motion picture unit? Cindy D says Cleopatra Jones. Different Cleopatra movie. And yes, you're all getting. Oh. David says R. R for Reagan, or a rated R movie. But yes, most of you guys are getting it. D. He made training films in the first motion picture unit during World War II. Daryl Jones says him and Bonzo. Oh yeah, Gary Carpenter's right. It did have Nuremberg did have Larry Hagman. And Steve says Dutch was a hero. It's funny. That was his preferred nickname. A lot of people called him Gipper, or other nicknames, but Dutch was his actual preferred nickname, which I believe he got when he was still in high school and was serving as a lifeguard. That was like that job was like the love of his life. He was a lifeguard, and when he was dying, when he was older, and like the dementia had really kicked in, when he would be lucid enough to talk to people, he never wanted to talk about his film career. He never wanted to talk about his presidency. He wanted to talk about when he was a lifeguard and saved 77 people from drowning. He always said that he saved 77 people from drowning. That was his number. Oh, we'll get some scores here. Joe Blex is 8 of 10. Kenneth Wilkinson is 9 out of 10. Sean Ennis is 7 of 10. Roger Bean is 7 of 10. Emily Miller is 6 out of 10. Uncle Joe is 6 out of 10. David, only 2 right? I'm sorry, man. Better luck next time. There will be a next time. We'll have another game next show. Cindy D says they did have bedtime. They certainly did. Zublik says he helped find Marilyn Monroe, unfortunately, the most overrated celebrity in history. Ouch. Cindy D was 9 for 10. Steve is 5 for 10. Denny Staten got 11. Are we just saying random numbers now? Nostalgic says to Gary Carpenter was released on Blu-ray a few years ago. Nightmare at Batham County. De La Greca is in it too. Amazing cast. Danny Staten says I added one. Keithy says 2 out of 10. Pork Chop Hill and Reagan. Those are good ones to get. So now that that's out of the way, we're almost at 9 o'clock, but we still got a few minutes left. So I'll tell you what, while we still got a few minutes left, is there anything celebrity veteran type situation you guys want to talk about when we still can? Well, we still have a few more minutes. Any celebrity stories, works that you think are appropriate? Now's the time to do them. Derek Cameron said, "Would you believe that Isabel Sanford cursed a word in Love at First Bite?" Why wouldn't I believe that? I liked Love at First Bite. I thought it was cool. One thing I did want to say is, and I kind of worked this in there. The last question, Lee Van Cleef, as you know, was a Navy and served on a sub chaser, and it was Lee Marvin was the Marines sniper or sharpshooter. No, sniper. But as I'm sure all of you know, Jimmy Stewart retired from the Air Force, U.S. Army Air Corps, as a lieutenant colonel. He had an amazing career during World War II. And the story goes is he made some recruitment films and was actually very, very mad that they took him out of active service, took him back to the States to make these films. But the way they explained it to him is they're like, who else in the Air Corps could pull in 1 million people? You're the only person who has that kind of star power. So please make these films. We'll send you back to Europe as soon as we can. So he had a very amazing military career. Steve says Audie Murphy was a hero and an actor. He certainly was. Zublik says, what? He's asking me, your favorite war picture, T-Pawns? Probably Bridget Remagen, to be honest with you. Could be All Quiet on Western Front. That's another good one. Cindy D says, I don't know that Gary Carpenter. Apparently she don't know that. David says, my dad would know more. I would watch TV with him. I try to answer right, LOL. Tracy says, I'm going to see you later, guys. Have a nice night. Get some rest. Thank you for coming by. I know how exhausted you are. Take care, Tracy. A lot of people saying good night to Tracy. Dan has given us another link. Carrie Carpenter says, don't the bedbugs bite. David says, love watching TV with my dad. One of my earliest memories, actually, as a kid, was watching old sci-fi horror movies on Creature Feature with my father on Saturdays. He worked mega hours when I was a kid, but he was always home Saturdays, and we would watch TV together, and those are my earliest memories, and I think that's what got me interested in sci-fi movies. Amy Miller says, Adam Driver was in the Marines. I did not know that. Cindy D says, didn't Haid Lamar create the model day cell phone technology? Didn't Haid Lamar create the model day cell phone technology? I don't know. Zublik says, how much did you enjoy Full Metal Jacket? I thought Full Metal Jacket was an amazing film. Of course, you know what a Kubrick fan I am. Emily says, I think Drew Carey served. Yes, he was in the Marines. I don't know if he served in time of combat, but he was in the U.S. Marines. Nostalgic says, Emily Miller did not know that about Adam Driver. Neither did I. Danny says, my favorite war movie has always been Midway, original one, and Tora. Those make a phenomenal double feature. They really do. I love both of them. Shannon says, Emily Miller, he was a Marine too. Nostalgic says, favorite classic game show host. Ooh, good question. Gene Rayburn. I'm going to go with Gene Rayburn. Only because he used to live on Cape Cod. And my grandmother met him once. More objectively, probably Peter Marshall. Cindy D says, B. Arthur was in the military as well. I did not know that. Gary Carter says, Cindy, Headley Lamar was underrated. That's Headley. Gary Carter says, didn't Bob Barker serve? I believe he did. I believe Bob Barker did serve. Oh, Cindy D says, thanks, life. Gene Rayburn was in the Air Force as well, by the way. He too served. Shannon says, one of those actresses, but I don't think it was Hedy Lamar. It was an actress who also directed. Huh. Nancy Walker? Ken Wilton says, good night, Emily. Oh, Emily, is either Emily leaving or Ken's leaving, but good night to either one of you or both. Zubik says, how about Paths of Glory? I love Paths of Glory. Just absolutely amazing movie, both as a courtroom drama, as a human drama, as a war film. It works on so many levels. David says Bob Barker was on Bonanza once. I did not know that. Emma Miller says Hedy Lamar developed the tech that brought us Wi-Fi. I did not know that either. Gary Carver says Martha Ray is buried in Arlington National Park. I did not know that. Cindy says, yes, she was Gary Carpenter, good actress, beautiful too. Steve says, Hedy Lamar sued the producers of Blazing Saddles. Did she win? I did not know that. Ezra Blick says, B. Arthur was in the Marines because she had cojones. Nostalgic says to David, have not seen Bob Barker acting on a TV show. He very well may have, though. I just haven't seen it. Sean says, actually, you are correct. It was Hedy Lamar. She invented signal jumping. That's crazy. That's an excellent factoid. Gary Garber says, life, I know it's over her name. Emily Miller says, Hedy, pronounced Heidi. Cindy saying goodnight to Ken. Superplex says B had to periodically Superplex. Let's just see. Daryl Johnson says, I liked In Harm's Way. Great film. Cindy D says, Glory with Denzel Washington. Amazing. Amazing film. Emily says, Bob, Hedy helped get us Wi-Fi. Apparently she did. That's an excellent point. Uncle Joe says Flash Gordon. I guess you could count that as a war film. It's a sci-fi war film. Steve says Paul Lynde is buried in Mount Vernon, Ohio. His brother Cody died at the Battle of the Bulge. Yeah, you were telling me that his parents were like in denial until it was proven that he was killed in 1949, and that somehow caused them to be unable to hang on, and they too died in 1949 when they found out their son was officially killed. Gary Garber says Jimmy Stewart was in the Air Force or the Army. Oh, what it was is at the time the Air Force wasn't a separate military service. There was the U.S. Army Air Corps. It became its own separate service after the war. Steve says Cordy. Damn spell check. Well, Cody sounds more like an actual name than Cordy. Shannon says in World War II, the Army was the Air Force. Ah, yes, it changed shortly afterwards. Yes, it sure did. David says, it's Godzilla. Where? Well, in the original Japanese Godzilla, this is one of my favorite factoids, the air destroyer that Dr. Shiwazawa is working on, he starts out making it during World War II, and he's collaborating with Axis scientists, and the oxygen destroyer was actually going to be used as a way of thwarting Allied amphibious landings, but they decided that wouldn't fly well in American audiences, so it was removed in the English language version. Nostalgia says the last full measure of devotion from 2020 was an excellent about recognizing Vietnam vets. Thank you. David says, run for it. Gary Carpenter says Clark Gable was in the Army. He certainly was. Zupalik says, message retracted. The message retracted to you, too. Nostalgia says true story. Zuplik says Paul Lynde was a hoot, but he had his demons. He certainly did. Daryl Jones says in 1974 she filed a $10 million lawsuit against Warner Brothers, claiming that the running parody of her name, Hedley Lamar. That's crazy. I hope she didn't win. Emily Miller says Zuplex, who doesn't? CDD says, I loved From Here to Eternity, great film. Gary Cameron says, I loved Hogan's Heroes, great show. Zuplex says, Tom Hanks, Emily, Tom Hanks. Gary Cameron says, Private Benjamin was a hoot, it really was. Dennis Jane says, have you seen the new Kong X movie stuff yet? Evil red Kong with blue eyes laughed. Daryl John says, Brooks said he was flattered that the studio settled out of court for an undisclosed nominal sum and an apology to Lamar for almost using her name. And Emily Miller says, okay, Zuplex, I'll give you that one again. Anyway, guys, we've hit the 9 o'clock mark, so I think we should wrap things up. I want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight. I want to thank you all for your patience. I want to especially thank Alex for his technical support. I'm going to adjust that ocular focus from this day forward. It brightened up in here when the sun finally went down. I was too busy being caught up in my little trivia game to notice, but it is sharper. I might actually try next week to film from the bridge, but I haven't quite decided yet. I get buffering issues when I do that, but we might try, we might not. But anyway, I want to thank all of you guys. This was so much fun. I love doing these. I love doing these. I think you guys are great. It's like having people come over that I don't have to feed. It really is. It's like a virtual game night. And I'm so glad that you guys enjoy it. And I'm going to keep doing it on Sundays. Hopefully, I'll have a show tomorrow night with Ian. Again, I didn't get a chance to ask him. I'm pretty sure we do. But I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. Be good, be safe, be careful. And again, hope to see you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.